An amazing day to you and welcome to The Patriot, showing on DSTV channel 365. It's Global TV. My name is Kemi Ashekun. My loved ones call me Hajia Kem, and it's a pleasure to bring you an interesting episode on The Patriot. On The Patriot today, we have a philanthropist, a patriot, a man who is giving his all. 37 years at the bar is not a joke to law. But beyond that, he's a publisher of law books and the chairman governing council of a university here in Nigeria. And so we will be looking at education. How does it affect the youths? What can we do differently? How can we give the kind of education that will make our young people take ownership of whatever it is they have learned and not necessarily go about looking for the seemingly unavailable jobs? There's a lot to look forward to on The Patriots today. You just have to keep your fingers crossed, and you will meet my guest in a bit. Today on The Patriots, I have with me Dr. Collins Aimwe-Bosetta, who is the chairman and pro-chancellor of the governing council for the Philomath University in Abuja. Dr. Collins, beyond that, also is a publisher of law books and the principal partner of Collins A. Aimwan and Associates. And of course, you wonder, why am I saying Aimwan and saying Aimwe-Bosetta? There's an interesting story behind that name, and I think that's what we will open with. A very good day to you, Dr. Collins Aimwe-Bosetta.
Thank you, Kemi.
Your card carries Dr. Collins Aimwan, but then when I asked you what the meaning was, you gave me a full sentence. Why did you cut your name short?
Well, if you see the name,
Yes.
the weddings are very many,
Okay.
so that people will crack their tongues to call my name. I don't want to subject people to that exploitation
All right.
and rigor to call my name. So I just shorten it to Aimwa.
But what does Aimwan mean?
Aimwa is a shortened form of Aimwe-Bosetta.
What does that mean?
You don't argue what God has said. You know, if you are familiar with ecclesiastical naming of human being in the Bible, even in our African tradition, people want to associate name to event and situation and circumstances. People also believe that, the Bible believes that a man, every man replicate or represent his name in life. If they say you as favor, chances are that favor begin to follow you.
But now that your name means we don't argue what God has already said. And
God said, I'm going to be great on it.
No, and you cut it short because you don't want people to suffer while calling your name. doesn't that sort of rearrange it?
No, it doesn't stop the meaning.
Oh, really?
It doesn't stop the shortness of the name.
Yeah.
Does not revoke the meaning. Abbreviation or shortened form of the name.
Yeah.
Does not abrogate the meaning of the name.
Oh.
Aimwa.
Yes.
Aimwe-Bosetta. They all mean the same thing. What God has destined me to be, I must be that. It doesn't matter what perilous times we are in or the situation any human being.
And this name is from what part of Nigeria?
It's from Edo State.
Edo State.
I'm
Part of Edo
I'm
State?
from Isha in Edo State.
Oh, wow. But yeah.
Oh, dear meme.
I think it's going to be a great one.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
But you never told me that you are from Isha. How do you come about
I'm a
speaking?
patriotic Nigerian.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You are a true Nigerian.
I am a true Nigerian, a patriotic one.
That's a great one.
It is within my rights to learn as much as I can. about
Wonderful.
As many Nigerian tribes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Dr. Collins Aimwan, I know that you're a philanthropist. I know that
By
you're
the grace
also,
of God.
I know that you're also the pro-chancellor
of Philomath University,
and the
Abuja.
chairman of the governing
Council. Yeah, that's true.
Let's take a look at education in Nigeria.
Chairman of the governing council
Yes.
does not mean ownership.
Okay.
I'm just the appointed chairman of the governing council.
Okay.
It's a statutory office.
Oh, I see. I see. But now let's take a look at education in Nigeria. I'm trying to guess you schooled at a time when there was free university education.
I'm not going to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were scholarship. I'm not sure there was bursary.
Okay.
Yeah. Things were still very tough.
But at the time you schooled, it was almost
I
clear
paid
that,
my school fees.
Okay, fantastic. But it was almost clear that when you finished school, you would get a job.
Oh, fantastic.
At that time.
Yes. Even at that, I must tell you that things were not as rosy as they are now. If you just oppose our growthy population
Okay.
to that time,
Yeah.
Nigeria was not as big as we are here. I'm surprised. Every part of Lagos now is flooded with human beings. Okay. Lagos was not as busy as it is today. Okay. Abuja, when Abuja started, was not as busy.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's supposed to be a good thing when the human workforce are utilized for the benefit of creating further wealth. It becomes something good. But when they become liability and not enough food to feed them, you begin to see security.
Let me take you back to what I asked earlier, which
Yes.
is at the time you went to school,
Yes.
at the time you were finishing, it was
Yeah.
almost guaranteed that you will get a job. I'm talking about university education.
Well, relatively better.
Relatively better.
Yes.
Today we have young people going to school, graduating from school, and there is almost there are almost no jobs available. So to speak.
You see, Kemi, these are the places in the area I normally do always disagree with people. In Nigeria today, there are jobs.
Why do we have so many unemployed graduates?
You see, jobs, you must be able to lead yourself in the world we are. If you cannot lead yourself, you'll be unemployed. If you can lead yourself aright, okay, there are opportunities everywhere. Let me tell you, beyond you and I,
yes,
everything on earth is wealth. Beyond you, I don't want to walk in the realm of being cannibal. Okay? Everything, the sun, the forest, the whatever it is, you see around, furniture, whatever it is, they are wet and wet convertible.
How can a young person who's watching you right now, because you say you have to be able to lead yourself.
Yes.
A young person is watching you right now and saying they had it good, but here they are trying to tell us that we can't lead ourselves. For a young person who's watching you right now, that person wants to understand what you mean by lead yourself.
Okay.
Can you expatiate on that?
You see, my dear, when I say lead yourself, the Englishman in our culture also, we say money tells the day.
Yes.
When you see young people, they are leaving the school, they begin to wear earring, they begin to, grow big beards, they begin to funky hairstyle, funky shoe, funky that. You know they are not set for the war of life and war of wealth. If you leave the school and begin to understudy, people like Dangote, read their background, read Tony Elubelu, read so many things, so many biographies. And you see the forest around us. I tell them like in Edo State. Edo State, vast population, vast wet resources, sitting on the bed of rainforest. Okay? where poverty is pervasive, endemic, and eating of the people. You begin to see, you see, what you don't see, you can't appropriate. Are you hearing me? Each time I travel out of this country, Kemi, what I do is to observe and look at things, look at structures, look at houses, look at roads, look at supermarket, look at invention, travel to universities, know what I begin to think and say, can't I replicate this in my country? How do I create the opportunity? My mentor, one of my mentors, is Guru Ibro. Guru Ibro told me, each time Guru Ibro comes to Abuja, he invites me to his hotel, the former Sheraton Hotel, which is Continental Hotel now. We sit down and begin to talk. We talk, eat together. He told me immediately he completed youth service. He traveled to France. He Googled it, he researched it. And there was opportunity to borrow money. Then, what is GROA now, sophisticated GROA, was bush, more or less, forest. At the end of the day, he got some loan to buy the land you call Sheraton Ikeja. And he started to set up Sheraton Hotel. As a young man. You see, when God created every human being, he powered human being with resources to live on earth. It left for you to tap into your full being, the worth in you, to exploit your environment.
How does a young person do that? Because you're talking about Chief Guru Ibro, being able to get loans and all of that. Some young people will argue that those opportunities are currently not available.
They are available because I interact with so many young men. I met a young man about 20-something. He said he lives in Kano. He brings out to 50 containers of clothing into Kano, 100 containers. There are many doing well, making hundreds of millions. Are you hearing me? Who are you understudying as a young person? Who is your peer? Who is your colleague? Whom are you following? What you follow, what you observe and follow inspires you in life to productivity. When we graduated from university, it's not that everything was all over the place. But my brain, I told myself I'm going to be great in Nigeria.
So how did you start off?
I started off as a lawyer. I worked with a law firm. I was practicing law.
So you would say that there is...
I work in with a law firm partnership. Abukaje Boilogu Nwongu. A Western House in Lagos.
How long were you there for?
I was there for a while. I moved to another law firm in Surulere.
How important would you say mentorship is?
Mentorship is all the whole thing. Mentorship is all the whole thing. Because even a goat, if you put a good thing in front of a dog or whatever it is, to begin to learn, interact with it, sooner or later, the goat or dog will begin to behave like something he's looking at.
But there's a tendency for the young people today to feel that because they have the internet, they have, they have access to a lot more information than was available back in the days when...
That's supposed to be an advantage to them.
Do you think it is?
It is. It's supposed to be an advantage to them. Because when we were at the school, or in the school, at the law school, for example, everything was analog. When we grew up as studying law, everything was analog. So you read and read and read until your eye turn back.
But if you now have access to information that is available, would you still need a mentor in this age and time?
You still need a mentor because some of the things you observe from the internet might be misleading. There are a lot of garbages there, which your mentor would direct you where to go or where to follow, where not to follow.
Let's go to you being the chairman of the governing council of Philomath University. Firstly, one of the challenges that young people face in school today, and thankfully the Minister of Education is talking about revamping our curriculum and all of that, is the issue of the curriculum.
It's not just the issue of curriculum. That's where I have problem with so many things. Curriculum.
What do you think the challenge is?
The first challenge is, what is the mission statement of university education in Nigeria? What is the vision? What is the university supposed to achieve? What are universities achieving in Europe? What are universities achieving in America? Are you hearing what I'm saying? University in America, they feed the industries by research. They sell research work to industry. When you talk about electrical vehicles,
yes,
those products, the idea, the research work came out from university and sold. These big men commission university to cost research and invention for them. You remember the Wuhan this thing that created controversy about the disease. They said incubated in Wuhan, that it was manufactured from a lab somewhere. I don't want to mention the country. Whether that was true or not true, I'm trying to tell you that, look, university in Europe, for example, government does not fund them wholesale. Do you know what happened? Yeah. They go around the world. They go around Asia. They go around Africa. Canadian University come here to sell university education, admission to Africa, considering that, people want to go to Canada. People want to go to Asia, Europe. They want to go to America. Okay? They cause them to pay huge school fees in America, Europe, in Canada, in Australia. These school fees is what they use to fund the university there, their students, pay for their students, and run the school, partly or hugely. So what it means is that aside from curriculum is okay. If we begin to change curriculum, there will be confusion.
Well,
there will be confusion.
Okay.
I do agree, education in itself, in modern world, has dynamic implication. In that, especially with the advent of globalization and technology, and so on and so forth. So for those reasons, AI and so on, so many innovations coming in, we begin to revamp, we begin to update, fantastic. That's supposed to be automatic of a system, like a computing system. It does not have to be this minister come, you revamp, you change curriculum, another one come, change curriculum, another government come, change curriculum.
Our curriculum has not been changed in quite a while.
Yes.
For example, if you go to some universities, I don't know how recent this is, but I know that at the time Java had become a popular language, in the early 2000s. Some of the universities, including the Ivory Towers, were still teaching Fortran and COBOL, which were programming languages that were as old as in the 1982s. Right? So the question I'm asking now is, this current with the advent of globalization and all of that, as our tertiary institutions continue, we may not necessarily be able to stay stuck in the kind of things that we used to, cut that side. Completely cut that side. So let me, what I'm trying to say is, what we used to have and what we currently have are two different things. And that's let me present that. What I'm trying to say is the strength and the quality of the education we used to have and what we currently have, judging by the dynamism of education in the world today, coupled with the advantage of the internet, are kind of completely different things.
No. You see, when you are outside education sector, you begin to postulate so much. You begin to think so much negatively about universities and so on and so forth. If you see students from universities today, especially a private university where we function from, the standard of their IQ and learning and what they can do now, we could not do it in our time.
Okay.
Because we as people leading the university, the professors, the this, the that, they are alive.
No.
They are alive to changes, they are alive to researches, they are alive to further training, they are alive to further. For example, I'm going to, university in the U.S. Okay, by next week. But what do you want? I want to do further study there. I want to do further studies. Okay, because we feel that Africa is too long underground. We want to rule this world. We want to rule America. We want to rule Europe. We want to also lead. Why? We are all human beings.
Okay.
Our students have to lead. This is the quest.
Well, if you say that the private university where you operate from is different, one would expect that students from private universities should come out and start up something, instead of joining.
They are doing great things.
Instead of joining the pool of unemployed.
It is not true. It is not true. They are joining a pool of unemployed people. I have told you. I don't want to mention names. If you know the gravity and width of what young people are doing in Nigeria, some of these estates, some of these investment you see in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, they belong to young people. You don't know. You think all these things belong to older people. They belong to young people. Go to Kano. Go to Kaduna. They are doing fantastic things. Young people are not waiting for you.
Okay, now let me take you back to when you were in school, when you were in the university, for example, right? At the time you were in the university, I'm sure that there were students from other parts of Africa.
Yes.
Right, in the university with you. Today in Nigeria, we barely see students from other parts of Africa in our universities.
Fantastic.
Does that worry you?
It worries us. It worries us. That's a very good question. You see, we must be able to save ourselves, save our environment, and secure our greatness as a people, as a nation. Save ourselves, save our environment, then secure our greatness. For example, let me tell you, America as a country will never allow a bomb to be thrown into their country. They will never allow it. United Kingdom will never allow a bomb to be thrown into their country.
So will Nigeria. Nigeria will also never allow a
bomb. But out of certain things we see, you see bombing, that, all sorts of insurgency. You may think that you are treating leadership. We are all treating ourselves. Because they scare people away from coming to invest in Nigeria, from coming to for authority in Nigeria, for coming to come to Nigeria for education. and all that.
But in the last few months,
yes,
there has been a reduction in some of these things.
Oh yes, that's why you see some improvement also. Let me tell you, a few laudable things President Tinubu is doing. He's trying to turn around this thing. He's trying to turn around the hand of clock to greatness of Nigeria.
You will say that's a good thing?
It's a good. For example, just look at the legal framework where he's trying to get into arena of true federalism. You know, you remember the local government application made by the Attorney General to the Supreme Court?
Yes.
That now guarantee the weight of the local government. Okay? Yeah. Okay? A situation before where all the states of the federation, they just come to Abuja, collect money and go and share. You see, you know, every person knows that structure is awkward. Knows that structure. Look at it again. He's trying to revamp the tax structure. If you look at it, if you remove the vulnerable, the Lilliput, the helpless people out of tax corridor and give them a certain level of freedom and encourage them by finances to be able to do and manage themselves, those are achievements. They could do more and more. State police, they are discussing it. State police will help to whittle down insecurity.
Let me take you back to education.
Yes. So what the president is doing now,
yes,
is optimal.
There's something he's doing that has to do with your sector, which is...
For example, I will go there. I'll come along with you to education sector.
Yes.
I got very, very happy with the president when we're talking about, you know, the tension that nearly swallow and kill up, consume Nigeria.
Which is?
They were saying Muslim ticket, this, the other. He came. I said neutrality. Let the country be one. Let Nigeria be one. All over the place. This is our country. We have no other country. Let us build a great nation. Why can't we be first world country? Singapore did it. Why can't we do it here? America was colonized by Europe or UK or England.
Okay, so let me ask you one of the questions they ask where they say, does the chicken comes before the egg or the egg comes before the chicken? And the question will be, does Nigeria have a leadership or a followership problem?
They are both. They are both.
And if you have to choose one?
I would choose any. I would choose any. Now, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Sometimes, this is a crescent, my house. A crescent. All the time, I try to clean up this crescent. Okay? People sweep all the garbage from their road, from their houses, and pour it on the walkway. Government walkway. From their houses. Dump refuse. I said, look, you are talking about government. Is government coming to live here? Where are the people live here? I come, I want to clean everything, clean the whole, and make it safe. Is that government, is that a followership problem or leadership problem?
I'll say it's a followership problem.
It's a followership problem. Now, followership, leadership without good followership will end the calamity. Good followership without good leadership will end the calamity.
How do we find
You know, when we were doing PhD, there was a course we wrote a PhD.
Just before we go into the PhD, how do we find the middle ground?
The middle ground is the national ethos.
Like the national orientation is doing.
Yes, national ethos.
National value charter.
You see, when Professor Dora Akuyele was alive, he was singing about, people say Niger, Niger. He said Nigeria is not Niger. Don't say it. He was fighting it as Minister of Information. We must build a national ethos, value system, culture, orientation. In America, you say USA, USA. They don't talk about a particular segment of America. The same thing in the UK. Here, I'm an Igbo, I'm an this thing, I'm from Ishekiri, I'm from the north. Those are national quagmire.
How then can we make the average Nigerian see themselves as Nigeria first before their languages or their tribe?
I said develop national ethos.
If you were to develop the national ethos,
we must retwine this country 100%.
How?
In the way we think, in the way we talk.
How should we go about it?
How do we go about it?
Yes.
It's you remember during the Agbon Buhari segment when they were saying war against the discipline. We must start a project or reorientation.
Can our population handle that at this point in time, considering that the population back then, during the Buhari Diagmo...
it has nothing to do with population.
Okay.
It has something to do with deliberate action.
But the President Buhari...
A step every day.
For 8 years.
A step every day in the positive will give you positivity as a byproduct.
That's what I believe that people voted President Buhari for in the last 8 years that he was in government. That he will bring back all of that, and I think that the population somehow did not.
But you see, a lot of things went wrong during Buhari government, second coming. A lot of things went wrong. One, his age started to fail. His health was not optimal. Thirdly, the people that were with him in his first coming were different from the people with him in the second coming.
Would you say that's the difference between a military government and a democracy? Because considering that, in the military government you can rule via fiat, but in a democracy you have to go through a whole
you cannot
bureaucracy.
You cannot put them into compartments for disqualification. Okay, some positive here, some negative there for both sides. Military or this thing. Idi Agbon was a person pushing that government during Buhari first coming.
You're shaking a table that might actually get destroyed.
Yes.
I'm not sure you want us to go down that road because a lot of people will argue and disagree with you on this.
No. You see, my dear Kemi, I'm not 100%. I'm just postulating.
Okay.
I'm postulating.
Okay.
You see, in law, what we do deduction from a set of facts and present it before the court and compare the court to make a conclusion on your deduction.
Yes. Speaking about law, I even though we're pressed for time now, speaking about law, one of the things that has been very huge on the social media in the last couple of days is the case between the legal luminary, Chief Afe Babalola, and of course the lawyer, Titus Tomilola Farutimi, right? And then there's also been the argument between defamation being criminal or being civil and all of that. I'd like you to just touch briefly on that because I still want to take you back to education, but because you mentioned law, I want us to quickly take a look at that.
Kemi,
yes.
Let me tell you, I don't want to really delve into matters that are sub judice, but I don't want to leave it completely so that people will not ascribe it to lack of information on my part to persuade or speak on. You see, in one of the benefit of being a lawyer is your ability to analyze and project issues that are offensive in law, in terms of communication, in terms of writing, in terms of where we go, what you do, what you don't do. A lawyer is able to project and see the end from the beginning. Are you hearing me? Mm-hmm. If a lawyer comes on air to begin to be vulgar and disparage the court of law, one, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm listening.
You are vulgar in your communication or your writing to disparage the court of law, yeah, or disparage individuals or disparage the government. Mm-hmm. You know the implication of that. The issue of defamation or libel form part of the body of law. We call the law of tort. The law of tort is usually centralized by the principle we call the principle of duty of care. Principle of duty of care I will explain. That principle said every individual owes his neighbor a duty of care. That what I'm doing within my spheres does not injure my neighbor and cause him damages. If it does injure him, he's allowed in law to claim against me in damages. If his reputation is injured, if you cause a bodily harm or whatever it is, or damages around him. So that's where the law of libel is. As a civil, that Donohue and Stevenson is a part of law of tort. Law of tort is part of civil law. But it doesn't really end up that way. In a federal constitution, like Nigeria is operating, a sphere where a state and federal has authority of law to legislate, you can make anything, codify it within a state and call it criminal for the benefit of the state.
Is that what is happening in this case?
The place where the venue of the injury, the state where the injury occurs, it's not the federal punishment that he's having. It's not that federal law. So they codify it as a state law. I learned they are abrogated in Lagos, but some parts of the western states. These are federal states. This is the quagmire and misnomer in Nigeria constitution. Some parts of Nigeria constitution are federal in nature or character. Some are unitary. Unitary is
a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing.
So how do we move forward from there?
That's what the National Assembly is working on.
Okay.
They are trying to, for example, they are talking about state police.
Yes.
The police, for now, the structure of police we have is unitary. Okay? It's unitary. But we are operating federal constitution. We borrow federalism from America. America, police and military, they are federal in character. That's why you have various structure of police or policing.
Well, because we don't
have the time.
We don't have time.
So the last arm of that thing I want you to know,
yes,
about the Farotimi situation.
Yes.
It's more than Afe Babalola. Do you know why?
Why?
Is injuring the courts of law. Part of what he says is against the courts of law. And his case is with the court of law. They are clamoring that he should be debarred.
That's a catch-22 situation. But let's go back to
you see, the something is more complex.
Absolutely. But let's go back
But the court is not going to come out and say Pharaoh Timi has injured us.
Dr. Collins, I'm one. Let's go back.
Are you hearing me?
I agree. I understand.
The court will not come out to the public and say, Pharaoh Timi, you have injured us. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
His enemies are both visible and invisible.
Wow. Are they enemies he has created for himself?
Fantastic.
Or enemies
Obviously.
have had a problem
Created for himself. Because a lawyer's language and communication must be seasoned with the sort of law.
Dr. Collins, I'm Eboseta. To wrap this up now.
Okay.
It's been an interesting conversation.
Fantastic.
But before we go, because you are the chairman of the governing council of Philomath University and also the pro-chancellor, I'd like to find out your vision for that university. What difference does that university
We want to be the greatest university in the world.
How do you intend to go about that?
I told you we want to be the greatest university.
How?
That's vibrating inside of us.
How do you want to do that?
Well, how do we multifaceted?
How?
Multifaceted approach.
What are some of the key things you
Okay, but let me tell you, are you aware
Yes.
that the chancellor of Philomath University
Yes.
is Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the former chief of staff to the President Buhari?
Well, that's news.
Are you aware
Yes.
the chairman of the board of trustee is CGN Ariwola, the last retired Chief Judge of Nigeria?
What difference will that make in the life of
They have ideas. They are international resource persons.
How old is the university now?
Huh?
How old is the university?
It was established 2021.
How many courses do you offer now?
It is we have Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences.
Okay.
We have Faculty of Natural Sciences. We have Faculty of Computing.
Are they all accredited by the NUC?
Oh, yes. That is why we are operating.
Fantastic.
That's why we are operating.
Dr. Collins, I'm Eboseta. It's been a pleasure speaking with you
Yes.
on The Patriot. I'd like you to inspire one young person who's watching this right now, who's thinking Nigeria has done nothing for me. I'd like you to say something to them that makes them appreciate being Nigerian and being able to give back something to this country.
He should change his thinking and orientation and rediscover himself by associating and reading and studying good people, great people. He should study Tony Elubelu. He should study Jimovia. He should study Dangote. He should study Collins Simon.
I was going to say that.
He should study many great achievers.
And also study Dr. Ibrahim Biu.
Ibrahim Biu.
And on that note, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure hosting you on The Patriots today.
Thank you.
And that's our package on The Patriots today. I have been speaking with Dr. Collins Eboseta. Incidentally, he is not just a lawyer, he's someone who's patriotic and passionate about Nigeria. We've had a good and an interesting conversation. And if there's anything to take away from this, it's the reminder that it all starts with your mind, and every young person needs a mentor. Even if all you take is a role model and study their lives and pattern your life accordingly, one day, someday soon, you will see the greatness that indeed Nigeria has for you. To build Nigeria, it takes you and I, one person at a time. That's how The Patriot intends to inspire change. My name is Kemi Asheku. My loved ones call me Kem, and it's been a pleasure bringing this your way. Have a great day.